Hey, welcome into a GASO cast. This is the TABC recap show. It was a weekend, and this is going to be presented by Ballogy. But before we get started, let's talk a little housekeeping. The GASO fast break. It's going to be loaded this weekend. I just turned mine into Linden, and it was a lot of work, a lot of stuff to be covered. The 2027 rankings are out. The 2026 rankings are out. We have a big event this weekend. So make sure you're subscribed to that and keeping up with everything GASO. And then make sure you're following us and come out to the GASO. We're going to be in the north this weekend. We're going to be at the Colony and Flower Mound High School. It should be a good one. But let's start talking about what everybody wants to hear about, and that's TABC. Blue, I'm going to pass this one to you. What are your opening thoughts about what transpired over the weekend?
Well, I think a lot of great basketball was played throughout the entire South Dallas, no matter where you went, and I think the one thought coming away from this for me personally, I sat down with a lot of college coaches. I was able to pick their brains, and the one thing that I came up with is that they are very specific and very picky about what they're going to do with the recruiting, and so part of it is that they have to lean on the portal, of course, as they look forward. A lot of them don't even know really what positions they need immediately. They know that they love some of the great prospects that are scattered throughout the state of Texas, and that they will go and recruit and offer some of those kids. And I think on the other side to this is that they're going to be a little bit patient. We still have July that will have a lot of these prospects having to display their ability once again in front of college coaches. And so, if you didn't get an offer right away this week, or if you didn't get what you wanted, there's no panic button here. There's nothing going on other than, you know what, let the college coaches think and process through this.
Love it. Mike?
Yeah, well, as y'all know, I must have worked really hard at TABC because I flew out to Vegas this morning to get away and decompress. But I just think it's what we expected. You know, everybody went into it, from if you're an evaluator, you're a parent, you're a coach, high school coach, player. Everybody went with certain expectations, and you could just kind of feel the urgency to want to play well. And that led to, just everybody thinks it's going to be a dream weekend. And like Blue said, just because you didn't get an offer, you have to find a way to take something out of it. And I'll say this: we try to cover it as best as we can with so many different teams, but continue to advocate positively for your player or your child. Just because, we wish we could see everybody play. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to go back and watch games, but in the moment, we're trying to cover as much as possible. So just continue the positive advocation, because we talk about with GASO, it's more than a weekend. The TABC lingering effect will be more than just a weekend also, and you can use it to your advantage. So if you did play well, find positive ways to continue to get the message out there, and the right eyes will continue to see it. And I will say this: if you're a player, the coaches are going to go find you. I know Lyndon left Duncanville High School along with some other college coaches to go to the old Duncanville court 6 and 7, and it was loaded over there too. So the college coaches are going to go find who they're looking for, and that was a fact all weekend long.
Yeah, they watch players, not courts. Lyndon, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a weekend like this is sensory overload, man. It really is. You have to be very intentional and locked in with what you're doing, or else you're just going to feel like you just got your head spun around, because there's so much high level basketball, and it really is a testament to our state and the depth of talent, the depth of high level programs that we have here in Texas. Because there's no right answers. We talked about this going into the weekend. You can craft the perfect schedule and have everything looking good, and then all of a sudden somebody pops off on another court, and you're like, I should have been watching over there. And that's just the nature of the beast, because I'm trying to watch all six courts at DFH, but it's not really effective to do that. So you got to be intentional with what you see, and just do the best you can. And I felt like we did for the most part. But let's face it, the recruiting world stops for this weekend because Texas has that much talent. Every college coach in the country, if they're not in the building, they're paying attention to what's going on at Duncanville Fieldhouse and Duncanville High School and the Mansfield schools and the Mansfield Fieldhouse, because they have to be, because there's that much talent here in Texas.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I feel like great I feel like I'm missing out constantly. Um, if I turn my head one way, there's the dunk behind me, and I'm like, oh gosh, I missed it. And then I go over there, and then there's a dunk where I was back on
Yes.
the other
Yeah.
court. It's just like
Yeah.
you just got to eat it. You just got to take the pill sometimes, just like in golf, and just sit there and be like, you know what? It didn't happen right this second. I gotta at least watch a half here, and that's what I try to do is try to get a half and get some good evaluation in. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the college coaches who I'm talking to. This is a huge weekend for GASO's like sales too, so our scouting service. Like you want me advocating to tons of college coaches, don't you? Right? Go ahead, Michael.
So real quick to that point, like you're watching games with the college coach you happen to be talking to those couple of minutes.
Yep.
So there might be a high major, whole bunch of high majors behind, but I might be sitting with a D2 or D3 coach watching a different game focused on that. So it was very cool to not, you got to be a fan sometimes for some
Yeah.
games, but then you also got to watch every level of basketball because you were talking with every level of college coach. And I think that benefited us even more because
Yeah.
the lazy eyes, let's go where all the fun's at. And sometimes you do get to see the fun, but also like it was cool to sit down with every level of college coach all weekend long and have those conversations in real time, watching the prospects they're evaluating.
Right. And just a peek behind the curtain here, those are our customers, man. Like we serve every level of basketball, and that's really, really important to us. So people asked me my schedule multiple times this weekend. My schedule was I'm going with who I'm talking to in that moment. And if you happen to be at that court, I'm pointing out everybody that they need to be watching in that moment. And that's really, really fun. But at the end of the day, like I leave and I'm just like, I still feel like I missed like the majority of it. Like it's crazy. Tim, why don't you round us out here?
It's must see in Texas for sure. I mean, like you talked about before, about it being the top weekend, really across the country because everything does stop. At the end of the day, for me, I think it was really, really big for college coaches to see players, and we talked a little bit about it last week, in their most comfortable environment. AAU has its layer, it's meaningful. But when you look at high school, when kids are at schools for 9 or 10 months out of the year, those high school coaches kind of know situations to kind of put those kids in. Most importantly, because they're trying to win, and so they're going to put them in the most effective way to kind of showcase their skill. And I feel like college coaches really got to see a kid's true value. We'll talk a little bit more about a couple of players later, but just for conversation purposes, kids playing dual roles. I don't know if they do that with their club AAU teams, whereas on the high school teams, they'll play multiple roles and really kind of show their true value and what's going to translate to the next level.
Said that moves us right into winners of the weekend. Who took advantage of the stage? We've mentioned how big the stage is. So who was the guy who just took it for the taking? Lyndon?
I'll go with two and their teammates, and I got to see most of their three games this weekend, and that's Trey Nunn and Michael Gatewood at Waxahachie. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves with Trey. I mean, at one point he had 8 threes left, and I texted Michael about it like with 12 minutes left in the second half against Barbers Hill, but was just lighting it up. Every game he had like above 24 points, I believe. He finished with 38 in the last one. Was just lighting it up. Really good, coming off actions, rising up, shooting it, was killing dudes in the face-up game, gets to the free throw line, and just was on a heater this weekend. And then Michael Gatewood, I don't know if there's a kid in the state who improved their stock in my eyes more than him this weekend, making every pass and then able to hit shots. Defender goes under a screen, and he's lighting them up from out there. Both of these guys help themselves immensely with the platform and should be seeing an uptick in college interest in the near future.
It's high praise. Blue?
Yeah, Roy Shelton from Cypress Falls, 6'1", 2027. I had a couple of college coaches tell me, man, we'll take him now in this 2026 class. I thought he really helped himself. I mean, he was playing for Richard Flores at Cy Falls is always a bonus. And with Royce, I mean, the way that he was able to conduct himself with the ball in his hand as a point guard to stop the go action. If he wanted to set something up in the half court, the ball was in his hands. He could penetrate. He could go to because of his strong frame, he was able to get to the basket and take contact, like just all the way around. Like he just was very impressive and ready just to you know what, he was just ready just to go play basketball. He was like in that comfort zone, as Tim said, that he's with his high school. He's able to run the offense, to distribute, or to go score defensively. He adds a lot of pressure to his opponents, and it does not make anything easy. And I look for him to just continue to just get better.
Tim?
There's two that I had, and both of them I felt like uh, coming from a club circuit, again, coming back to the high school level, being able to kind of showcase their versatility. Jackson Thompson was one for me. Timmons and I talk about him, quite a bit. We've been watching him for the last couple of years and his maturation. I thought when we saw him in the springtime, just his body and what he had done with it, coming off of the high school season, was able to be on full display. Uh, Going against Austin Goolsby and going against a really, really good Melissa team, he was able to answer some questions that a lot of people may have had. And I think, after talking to a couple of coaches as well, seeing some recent offers that have kind of come his direction, he really took full advantage of this weekend. And then another one was Chase Richardson from Friendswood. Really, really got the chance to really kind of show his athleticism and his ability to really kind of put it on the floor and get to the rim. He doesn't always get to showcase that playing with other teams that he plays with. But he also showcased his ability to be able to kind of shoot it from deep and really kind of show also his leadership skills, because he's a true leader out there and really has a spark to his game that really kind of ignites everybody else. So those are two that I thought took full advantage of this weekend.
Love it. I'm going to hop in there with Christian Haskett. The size, the length, the scoring ability that he was playing with at the Woodlands Christian this weekend, he was very, very impressive. When you look at them, that's what they're built like, and he had the play to back it up this weekend. Just a guy who I've just seen make strides over the course of the last few years, and was really impressed with this weekend. Michael, why don't you round us out here?
Yeah, Jakat Cantave of Atascocita. It's one of those ones where some players walk into TABC as a household name across the state, some regionally, and then some walk in and make the biggest name for themselves. And I think his play all across the weekend had a lot of people being like, wait, who's that? And now they're not going to forget him. Just playing at the highest level you could possibly play in some of the biggest moments. I sat down with him for a kick at courtside after his first game, and then he went and gave Dynamic Prep everything they asked out of him. So, yeah, just one of those guys that won the weekend just based off the way he did it. Undeniable over and over. And my last guy, Aeneas Alexander of Dallas Pace. I sat with a lot of coaches. They're like, oh, I didn't realize he was for real 6'7". You can see the frame. You can see the physicality. But you also saw the finesse there. So there's so much to like. Was shooting it from the three, finishing through contact, finishing around contact. Just a high-level player that a lot of coaches kept saying, I really like this kid.
Love it.
Hey guys, and in my correction, Roy Shelton. I'm just so amped up. Roy Shelton over at Cypress Park, at Cy Park there. And so my apologies. I'm going to talk about somebody else from Cy Falls. So I'm sure Coach Flores would love to have them, but that's not the case in this segment.
Side district's on your mind, and that's a good thing.
There's only like 13 high schools there, so yeah, that's an honest mistake. You don't need to clip this one up.
Hey, let's go into the proved me right section. Just to kind of give you a little like behind the scenes look. When we build this, all of our cheat sheets and stuff for college coaches, we do put our stamp of approval on some players of like, hey, college coach, believe me, I'm putting my name here. This is my guy that you need to go see that I promise won't disappoint. And who proved you right this weekend? Blue.
This weekend was Sawyer Dotson. I thought, we talked a lot about him off camera here, and just for the ability of telling college coaches of what a great shooter he was. And that if you want one of the best in the state, that you needed to go watch him. And I think for the most part, everybody did. And just the shot does not change. Does not matter if he's 15 feet away from the basket or if he's going to stretch it out past the arc. He'll go inside sometimes to go finish. He's a complete perimeter player that's going to bring one of those bigger opponents out to him, and then he'll be able to just kind of create some separation to hit some shots. But I think that he did what he was supposed to do, and that's knock down shots, number one. And Mass, I know you always talked about how key that is in any for any player at any position, and that's what he did. I think if you look at the numbers, if you get in touch with Anthony Holman, you look at everything from top to bottom. That so much of his game translates, and numbers don't lie. And I think sometimes we have a hard time with players that go from the 3-point line of high school over to the college line, and those percentages dip. This is a guy that's going to be consistent no matter where he shoots it from, and I think that those lines are just there to give him the opportunity to knock down shots.
Love it. Lyndon?
Yeah, I got to go with Austin Brown as a guy that I was loud about going into this. And just the thing that blew me away was how comfortable and assured he looked as Lufkin goes 3-0 in one of the toughest pools that was put together by TABC. And it's just getting to his spots. I think he had a 7-3 game at one point in the weekend as they beat Frisco Memorial. But his just ability to handle the ball and transition, speed his team up, and he's got some talented dudes around him with Burst, with Sanders, McManus. A lot of the dudes that were out there gave him a lot of help this weekend. But the thing that was just like the main point of his weekend was just how well he shot the ball and how easy he made it look getting to those spots and finishing over a hand.
I'm going to hop in with Kensington Candler. If you've ever heard me talk about point guards, he's one of my absolute favorites in the state, and he has been for a couple years now. I just, and you see him on ASAC, and he's moving the ball, and he's facilitating, and he's getting all those guys involved. But then when you see him with Little Elm, he's showing off how much he can score and showing off the deep bag, and I love that he can play those two roles and not really lose a step, and college coaches like him in both roles. I think that's really special, and man, I've sat down for that first half of his first game on Friday at 1 o'clock, and he didn't miss a shot in the first half, and I was like, yes, this guy proved me right. Go KC. That was awesome just to watch, and he put on, man, and he picked up a big offer, and a lot of people left raving about that kid. So really, really, really fun to see. Timmons?
Do you remember with Kensington when he was playing with Flash Elite a couple years ago and he just kept hitting shots? We're like, he can't just keep hitting these shots, right? And then we're like, okay, fast forward to now, and we're like, this guy is so good.
He
But
put
for me,
a lot of people on
Jones-
notice last year.
Oh, absolutely.
He did.
Ja'Cory Jones of Denton Braswell. The one thing I love is that when you're a senior to be, a lot of these guards that we really like a lot get to go assert themselves at the biggest level. I sat down and watched, and I was like, yep, he's doing exactly what I think he's supposed to be doing, is putting pressure on the defense, asserting himself, being a real alpha dog over and over again. That's just so hard to prepare for. It doesn't matter if you have weeks, but a lot of these teams don't know who they're walking into play a lot of times. And Ja'Cory just went crazy. And the best thing is that when you walk away from a game, whether you watch 5 minutes or a half or a full game, we start to see these box scores start coming out later, where parents and players are advocating for themselves. So I didn't see the 35-point game that he finished with in Game 3, but I already knew that he was playing it and had a good weekend. So I'm like, yeah, that's awesome to see that as well. But just to your point, Lyndon, like you saw more of Austin Brown than I saw, but then you start to see this they're putting up big boy numbers. So it's always cool to like watch what you're watching and then, go watch somebody else, but then follow back around and be like, okay, they had a complete weekend.
Tim, round us out.
Donovan Chris, we've been talking about him, and we said that this was going to be his moment. We also said that, it was going to be a period of time when he had to show that he was going to be that dude. He was going to be that guy that had to take over the leadership role, with Kingston Fleming's leaving, due to graduation. And he proved just that. A lot of people had some questions, kind of coming in, and, I've received recent text messages and phone calls about him saying, you confirm exactly what you said he was, and then some. I think, again, when we start talking about maturation of his games with others, his body, as he's put together, a really solid frame for himself, but now he's also combining his skill to go along with his recent body transformation, and now he's really kind of putting a lot of pressure on defenders, but he's also taking on that additional responsibility of going to the glass and rebounding, securing stops, things that are going to translate to the next level. The coaches are going to see if a kid has some toughness, if he's capable of doing certain things. So he's definitely answering the bell for that one, for sure.
Yeah, he checked every box this week. It was very, very impressive. Big fan of Chris. Showed their stuff. Who is a player who did exactly what they're good at and showed it off all weekend long? Who was this guy? Linda, I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah, I'll go with Hudson Lucas out of Dallas Parish Episcopal. Was extremely loud in that 9 a.m. game, where he had 28, I believe. But this guy, what he does best, he stretches the floor and then he rebounds, and he's the backbone of one of the better defensive teams in the entire state at Parish. And they held some really talented scorers to a low total of points this weekend. But when he's shooting the ball well and filling that role of, probably one of their most reliable 3-point threats, but is also mixing it up inside, hitting a little baby hook, getting a putback here and there. This kid really helped himself this weekend by doing the little things, by doing the dirty work. And also, when you're 6'8" and can shoot it like he can, that's automatically going to make you a lot more attractive to college coaches.
Good call out, BZ.
Reese Alston, Houston Second Baptist, maybe a little bit of low hanging fruit here, but his ability to get to the, what did I do now?
It was
to the
low
paint.
hanging fruit. We were all agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, good. But just to be able to get into the paint, and as that defender is backpedaling, sliding his feet, trying to keep him in front of him, he knows exactly when to stop and pop. Like it's just all one fluid motion that is hard to guard. That is, it's going to play mind games with you, because he's also this great passer that where if you think you're going to guard him too closely, he just blows by your touch pass down low to his teammates, and he showed exactly what he was supposed to do, but also he didn't try to overextend himself. He didn't go in there thinking, okay, I got to be better at this or that. No, he just played his game for Houston Second Baptist.
All up in here with Cash Chisholm. He turned his ankle last week at the GASO, and I walked over to him and I saw his ankle, and it was a big softball in there, and I was like, bro, just keep icing it. Let's get healthy kind of deal. And I went to go check him out, and there was a guy that I was like, man, I really hope that sprained ankle that he recovers from it and finds a way. And he did. They slowed the game down. You could clearly tell it was intentional, and just let Cash work. And it was awesome to see him put on the way he did, fighting through injury. So if you were if you didn't know, Cash was hurt this weekend, and he found a way to produce and still play at a high level. Physical guard, really, really good, sees the floor, can score the ball, really, really nice in the mid-range. Really enjoyed it, and I wanted to give him a shout-out here because fighting through that, not everybody sees or knows the behind the scenes, and I just happened to see some insight in that situation, and for him to go out there and perform the way he did, I want people to know that, like, he fought through it, and he made a big impact, which was really cool to see. Mike?
Yeah, for me, Jacob Padilla. Last year, I found myself wondering why I keep watching a Kingston Flemings-led team, but still find this kid that's just playing 10 to 12 minutes to start off early in the season and be like, he impacts the game so well. Fast forward to now where there's a lot of seniors that have graduated, and some of these big programs have a lot of shoes to fill. And Jacob Padilla walks in and scores 20 points against Allen, and you're like, okay. But he does it the way that he did it last year, just with more of a role. And it's the fact that he's active at all times. Brendan Orty runs a very offensively friendly offense, so he's knocking out open shots. The way he cuts, he's just the intangibles that he brings. If he wasn't playing behind the Kingston Flemings, the Cowgill, Donovan Chris, Isaiah Ward, Taylor Todd, he probably would be one of the bigger names in San Antonio. But that doesn't deter him anyways from just playing winning basketball. And he did that at a high level this year. And I know Brennan took some hits with their record, but the way they play together, they're going to be just fine, in my opinion, and they're going to be making noise this fall and winter.
Dude, Padilla was awesome, and he's just like, he's built for the moment. I guess when you practice against Kingston Flemings for a little while, you step in that game just ready. Everything else has got to be pretty slow for you, and he played really, really well. Good call. Tim, round us out.
Reggie would do Summer Creek. I really, really like what this kid is doing, what he's putting together so far in the spring and the summertime, and he really kind of came out and kind of confirmed what Coach Moore has been talking about since he took over the job, last year, about how well and how special, Reggie can be. Ability to put it on the floor. He's so quick off the dribble, but he's so quick off the floor as well in terms of getting good lift on his shot and releasing it. He missed one that would have won the game for him in their Friday night opener, but outside of that, he had some really big performances. He can really score the basketball in multiple ways. But I think what really kind of stood out to me was his ability to also run the team. It wasn't just about his ability to kind of score the ball. It was just him really kind of controlling flow and pace, really getting others involved, and then also showing a leadership ability to kind of call people to the side, and talk to them about what was upcoming or what had just happened, just so that way they can kind of correct it on the fly, as some teams had to do without their coaches, coaching them for so long of a period of time. So being able to kind of see kids do those type of things in adverse situations really stood out.
Yep. Cool. Quick message from our sponsor at Ballogy. Ballogy and GASO are launching the 10K Shot Club. We launched it on June 1st, and we have athletes getting the work in. So track your made shots using Ballogy's AI Vision. Hit 1,000 in a week and grind your way to 10,000 this summer and get featured in the GASO Fast Break. All you got to do is download the app, create a free profile, and use access code rXBxTNpp and join the GASO 10K Shot Club group. Start tracking with the Ballogy AI Vision now. Anybody can put in the work. Let's hop to rapid fire. I thought we did a great job last week with rapid fire. We didn't hang out too long, but we still got our point across.
Blue, that's why he said that. He Blue.
He was elite last week. We gotta get him the
I was elite, and just wait till I give you my first one.
All right. 2026 rapid fire, guys. We're gonna just kind of run through them, maybe get your one sentence out about them, and then we'll continue on. I'm just gonna go in the same order that we have it on the sheet. So, Lyndon, let's go.
Yeah, let's go Henry Beckett, Dallas Highland Park. I mean, pretty easy choice as a stretch forward that can slash, can finish above the rim, and can really knock down the three.
Mike?
Chris Gooden Jr. of Duncanville. Duncanville's going to rely on a lot more players this year, and Chris Gooden's offensive side showed, especially in the half court, getting to his mid-range. We already know he can guard really well, but he's starting to show every part of his game, and Duncanville's going to need him a lot this year.
BZ?
JJ Price, Trinity Christian, Addison, 27 points versus Cypress Springs. They came back from 11 down to win 50-44. That was TCA. He averaged over 19 points a game and shot 58% from threes for the weekend.
Love it. Devin Kirk, Red Oak, filled the stat sheet. It's just what he does. Rebounds, steals, deflections, points, assists, whatever you need, he can do it for you. Tim?
Adam Boyd, Atascocita, true combo player.
He's really, really good. Lyndon?
I like that. Now, Tim, yeah. I love that. I love that.
That's as good as it gets.
Player, duh.
Lindo?
I'll go with Sean Imwasigwa, Katie Seven Lakes. If you wore a Katie Seven Lakes jersey this weekend, there's a chance you're a stock riser for me. But Sean's the one, so reliable, shot maker, and a really good rebounder and defender as well.
Hey, Lyndon, who's going to be at the top of the 6A not too early list? Is it going to be 7?
You got to subscribe. You'll see it Friday at 9 a.m.
Love it. Blue?
Richardson Lake Highlands, 2026. Osa Winzy. Goodness, that's a tongue twister there. Just the size, the ability of to use his athleticism to go rebound, get putbacks, lean on his opponent when he's defending on the block. He's got a lot of great upside. People better keep track.
It's my turn for the low-hanging fruit. Austin Gooseby, if you saw his Friday performance, it was unbelievable. I was actually sitting with Rick Shirley of the TABC, and when he saw Austin, he was like, oh, my gosh. Austin was just scoring bucket after bucket, and him and Jackson Thompson were having this crazy duel. And, the ex-director of the TABC was just loving it. Tim?
Austin Brown, Lyndon talked a little bit about him earlier and his shot-making ability. It was at a high clip. I was standing with a college coach, as they're sitting there kind of watching him because they were comparing him to a couple of other players they were interested in. And for him to go for 4 or 5 straight, even though the defense knew about it.
Bad boy. Lyndon?
Yeah, let's go with Hagen Hurst from San Antonio O'Connor. Really liked what I saw from him. Finishes over either shoulder in the post. A lot of no-nonsense, just all business approach to his game.
Mike?
Yeah, Elijah Gibson, Clean Harker Heights, probably the most camera-friendly player there is in the state of Texas right now. But he had so much production to it in the last 2 weeks between GASO and TABC. He's probably one of our biggest stock risers right now, and it's sky's the limit for that kid.
Blue?
Terrence Burry, 6'7", Louisville High School. He's a transfer from Bigsby, Oklahoma. A lot of energy. He's active. He runs the floor. He'll knock down perimeter shots, and of course, he'll play with his back to the basket.
Bryce Dixon, the Colony. Very loud performances. The Colony team looks a little different now, but I think Bryce, we use the word maturation, just seeing his maturation and just being the guy, he looks like he fits that bill. Tim?
You guys use the term speaking loud or playing loud a lot. Jamel Garland, Cibolo Steele. I mean, for him to come out and answer the call, you got a lot of people trying to figure out how good are they going to be. They're going to be right there in the very end when it's all said and done. I think it's going to come down to them, and I'm not going to mention the other school. Uh, but it's going to be very interesting when it comes down to it when you start talking about Region 4 and the top teams, in a particular region. But it's going to be really good, and I think this one here is going to be the key addition.
Hey, you're not going to out-tough them. They are really fun to watch. Lyndon?
Let's go with Tookie Johnson from Lubbock Cooper Liberty. A really good 4A matchup I got to watch between them and Burke. But this guy, so much IQ and feel for the game. And as a shot maker, he really impressed me and a few college coaches I was sitting with.
Mike?
Nola Barkley, Austin St. Michael's. Obviously, Bo Ogden left and went to Austin Westlake, and it didn't deter what Nola Barkley was ready to do regardless. Showed the leadership side of things. He plays with a mean streak, but he's so skilled. So he's just one of those guys I was excited to see him take that step. And I know internally in that program, the coaching staff was very happy for the leadership perspective that he showed.
Blue?
Caden Johnson, 6'4", out of DeSoto, kind of just a do-it-all, no matter what position he is. If he's going to be the lead guard, to distribute, or to take the ball downhill, give it to him out on the wing, knock down some shots. He has improved every year since he's been here in Texas.
Trey Hall, you love to see it. A guy who's just been getting better and better, and then at the right time flashes the brightest on one of the biggest stages in the country. Kid has a lot to like. 6'6", can really shoot the ball. And when dialed in and grabbing all the rebounds, you see what this guy can be. Really happy to see him put on such a big stage. Tim, round us out with the 26s.
Just to kind of touch on what you just talked about, I watched him score 13 straight. Trenton Hall scores 13 straight. And so it goes back to what we were saying at the very beginning about kids playing in a more comfortable role where they're at with their school teams. This kid right here that you just mentioned is a true testament to that. And to round us out, I'm at Xavier Robertson. I'm looking at him just with his ability to lead and just the way he competes on both sides. Dynamic Prep is down double digits to
Tell the story.
Yep.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, it was Timmons and I standing right next to each other.
Yep.
At the half, he tells the coaches, "Y'all go. I got this." Calls the team over. He said, "A players' team meeting right here only." He said, "We're not going to go out like that. We're going to keep it PG just for online purposes right here. We're not going out like that. We're not going to do it." He said, "Look at the score. It's not going to end that way. Not while I'm standing right here." Case closed. They come back and win the game. Double-digit deficit.
Yep.
Xavier's awesome,
Absolutely.
man, and you can see the intensity. And I just feel like it's an anomaly to like wait your turn at a prep school and just like keep plugging away at it. And I feel like that's what Xavier's done, and now he's the senior, and you can tell he's the heartbeat. It's great insight, Tim. Let's go into the 27 rapid fire guys. Lyndon, let's go. You know I love these two dudes.
Yeah, Kavian Bryant and Elijah Paez from Westwood and Brock watched a heck of a duel over at Mansfield Lake Ridge between these two, where Kavian had 40, got the win, but Elijah had one of the best dunks I saw all weekend, had about 25. Will McGee had 20 for Brock. It was a really, really fun game. It played at a high level between a 4A and a 3A school, just to highlight the depth that we have in this state even more.
Mike?
Jeremiah Moore, Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. Obviously, gyms were packed to see Billy White this week, but this kid helped us stock so much more. The way he can shoot knockdown threes with a hand in his face or just off transition unlocks a lot for this Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial team that never seems to be out of games. They made some comebacks that didn't quite get him over the hump, but his shot making is insane, and he's a dude right now.
He is. He played well last weekend too. Blue?
Sure did.
Shaq Kezi, 6'8", Dallas Carter. Goodness, that length, the ability of him putting it on the floor, the body control, finishing at the rim, knocking down short mid-range jumpers. this kid, goodness, I can't wait to see him again. He's going to be a complete player soon.
Isaiah Santos, if you watched Seven Lakes and you missed him, I'm sorry. Holy smokes, he was awesome. He is just a winner, and whoever is lucky enough to get that kid on their college campus is going to get a steal. I don't care what his shooting. I just don't care about it. He can guard anybody. He's going to grab rebounds. He's going to make the right play. He's going to get on the floor. He's going to be on one shining moment one day, diving out of bounds, flipping into the commentators because he will sell out to get that one possession. This kid's a winner. One of my favorite kids of the weekend, and I think my favorite in 6A. I'm just going to say that's my vote, Lyndon. Tim?
Aquarian Lincoln, humble. Is really adding on to his game quite a bit. Had some questions coming in. He answered those questions for me last weekend, with his ability to kind of not only rebound the basketball at a much better clip, but also push it out in transition, getting the ball out to others, getting those guys involved. But then when he needed to, he's really adding to his game, really being able to raise up with his athleticism, being able to shoot it over the top with a much cleaner handle as well. So, I mean, I really like the direction that this kid is going. Jaquarian Lincoln, for sure.
Lyndon?
Yeah, I'm going to go with C.J. Williams out of Houston Stratford. Really big fan of his after this weekend when I was courtside for them. So smooth, gets to the rim, knocks down shots, just plays at high speed, but always looks comfortable.
Mike?
Element Foon of Anna. Like, Lyndon, I know that was more of your guy, but going into it, I was like, cool, I'm going to go check him out. And what is that? Like, he's whooping stuff off the backboard. I mean, I don't even know. Like, that's one of those prospects you're like, holy crap. Something's brewing there. And just the length and athleticism and his way to go find the ball. He's a different kind of prospect. And I'm glad I got to see him live because he does make some insane plays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep the Anna energy going because I like the backcourt of Jahai Martin and Carson Jones. Jahai had a stretch where he scored like 8 out of 10 points to kind of pull out the lead against Comel Piper. Carson Jones, they get down. He ends up hitting the game winner. These two are going to be a nasty backcourt. And I can name all 5 of their starters at Anna. I was like watching them. I was like, I know you. They're coming on, and they're a really good group. Blue.
Zaire Caesar from Tyler Legacy, a true inside-out at 6'7", can pound it inside, finish over either shoulder. Then he'll take you to the perimeter, drop down a 17-footer, and then opposite on the defensive end, he's rebounding, he's altering shots, and he's running the floor hard.
Tim?
Can't have an episode like this and not talk about Marcus Spears Jr. I mean, he's that guy. I mean, his versatility and everything that he brings to the table. Not even about point production right here, although we know he has the skill and the ability to be able to score it at a high clip. His willingness to do other things. I mean, we got Xavier that we talked a little bit about a while ago, and you got Ryan Hampton on the opposite side of the roster. His ability to go out and allow those guys to be who they are, I think the tone is really kind of set with this one as well. His ability to rebound it and put it on the floor and really stretch defenders out and just make timely plays, whether it be a block shot, a bucket at the rim, whatever the team needs at that moment to kind of seize the momentum. He's doing it. So I think Marcus Spears definitely deserves a nod.
Linda?
Yeah, I'll go with Jace Griffin out of McKinney. I mean, the way this kid's able to shoot the ball with length, he's one of my favorite shooters from this weekend. And he showed some flashes getting to the rim as well. There's a lot of upside with this kid's game.
Mike?
Yeah, Trey Pinkert, Conroe Grand Oak, saw him in the new threads early on this weekend at TABC. I mean, it doesn't matter what court he's on. He's going to knock down shots, and he's going to play at his pace, and it's just going to just rinse and repeat, and he's just always so dang good.
BZ?
Peyton Jones, Beaumont United, seen him in that uniform. He's so perfect for 94 feet of chaos and just playing hard. He gets out in transition so easily to get to the bucket. I mean, his game is on the rise. Love his athleticism. He plays off his athleticism on both ends of the court, and then just to knock down some perimeter shots. Just can't say enough about the kid.
I'm going to go with Cam Martin, Humble Summer Creek. I just love the way he guarded this weekend. I just think he is a 2027 on the rise, and people need to have him on their radar, and he's going to make a lot of noise this year just with his size, his length. and in transition ability. Tim?
Dawson Petit, shot making ability from all over the floor. I mean, he just really puts so much pressure on the defense. It's something to be said when you have extra guys, running at you, and teams know that you're the guy. But his shot making ability, it's at a high elite level.
Lyndon?
Yeah, you can't have a 2027 segment without talking about Mari Wesley. I mean, he was living on the rims, just plays like a grown man, physicals guys out of the game, and was trying to tear off every rim he saw this weekend.
Michael, love this guy. Had a great second half on Sunday when I caught him for a sec.
Yeah, that's Damon Miles of Clear Lake. I just love the way he can dance into all of his spots. As he gets older, like I watched him as a freshman, and he took some freshman shots, and now he's starting to take more shots that equate to winning. And he just had a really big weekend, picked up an offer from Florida A&M as well.
BZ.
Alvin Mosley from Fort Bend Crawford, 27 points and a win over Kennedale. He can really drive the ball to the hole, go finish in transition. He's tough. He's physical. One thing I am going to add here to make up for my mistake for earlier is Roy Shelton from Cy Park, a guy that I talked to many college coaches about. They loved his game, his ability to run a half court offense, able to push the ball, stop and go action. Take the contact inside the lane and finish through contact and make his free throws. Really good defender.
Will Sliker, Lake Travis, first time seeing him. Kid has some real game, really nice first step. Loved the moment. He hit shots. Fun one I'm going to keep track of. Tim, round us out with the 27s and we'll move on to 28s.
Imani Francis, just a rebounding ball magnet. I mean, he's asked to do quite a bit, when we start talking about, guys having to take on additional roles or responsibilities with graduation and different things like that. I think he's assuming that role, already with his size and his athleticism, he's assumed to be able to go out and do certain things. But the willingness and the effort that he puts forth to go out and get things done, had a couple of double-digit rebound games and also had 25 points to go along with that in their second game where they played a lot better on that second day.
2028 rapid fire. These are the guys of the future. We don't rank our 2028s until next February, but this is where we're collecting that list, making sure we're seeing them, and it is a fun time to start talking about the new crop. It always makes for a lot of fun. So, Lyndon, tip us off there.
Yeah, I'm going with KJ Goodwin out of Cy Ranch. Really great swingman type body control as a finisher, getting inside the paint and finishing in traffic. There's a lot of game there. I'm excited to see more of him in the future.
Mike?
Madden Hill of Clear Springs. He's feels like he's a veteran already. Just the way he carries himself on the court. It's just scary where it's going to be. In February, we're talking rankings and beyond. But just one of those guys that walked in 2028, wasn't afraid of the moment, and went out and did his thing.
Blue.
Gus Mills, 6 foot from Waco Midway, quick release, handles in transition. He's going to love playing for Matt Saman once they really get into their offense and that allows for a lot of threes to be shot.
I'm going to go with Joel Hudgens, Arlington Grace Prep shooter. One of the quickest releases in the state, any level. Really excited. Big, long shooter. I'm in. Tim.
Cam Crawford over at San Antonio Wagner. Really, really long. Coach Clark and I talked a little bit about him during the spring and the summertime. Really, really going to play a pivotal role for them this year, and I think he's kind of carving that out for them right now, showing people what he can actually do, playing through contact. He's a long, thin frame, but right now he's starting to kind of play through those contact situations and still be able to finish well above the rim as well.
Lyndon?
Yeah, Landon Horton at Clear Falls. Saw flashes of Orlando where he was just speeding all over the court, delivering the ball, making his team play fast, knocking down shots, and handing out plenty of dimes this weekend. Excited to see more of him.
Tim.
Big effort and more. I don't think we can talk about the 28 class without talking about this one right here. Elite footwork, really, really good hands. Can finish with either hand around the basket, also a willing rebounder. He really competes inside, has a really good feel. But the thing that kind of stood out to me that I talked to a couple of college coaches about was his passing ability. Although people knew he was going to get it, and they come and double and triple down, this ability to find people on the opposite end of the floor on a line is really kind of a special characteristic that he has.
Mike?
Landon Collins Pflugerville Weiss, long, lanky, big. Obviously, has a lot to put on with his frame. But the fact that he's going out there as 22 and winning 50-50 balls against much more physical players bodes well for his projection.
I'll go with KJ Miller, Odessa Permian. This kid, wicked speed, getting wherever he wanted. Felt really, really comfortable in the game that I watched. And just those 2028s, this kid's coming fast. And, anytime we got somebody that from that far out, I'm going to try and do my due diligence to get it done while I'm in Dallas. And he impressed me. I'll just leave it there. We'll talk more about him later. Tim, round us out.
Aaron Mathis, Lake Travis. Really, really going to be a good one for them. Lefty gets to his spots, hit some pressure shots for them. I watched them win a close ball game. Actually won two of their games, but one of them really, really close. And he was a key factor in that one, having to make some critical decisions down the stretch for them. But most importantly, they're looking for him as an incoming sophomore to really kind of make plays for him. So for him to kind of have that role and him embrace it is one that we're going to need to keep close eyes on for sure.
Love it. And hey, that's going to wrap this up. I know we couldn't touch on every single kid in the state. We wanted to. We're going to be going back and watching film. Me and Blue are going to be doing another TABC segment on A Cup of Hoops on Thursday. Then our newsletter is going to be about A Cup of Hoops. And Lyndon already told us, or it may have been Blue, hey, we need to continue to watch because this event had so much and make sure that we're putting out names. And that's what we're doing. And we're still watching. This week is still a bear because we've got our event coming up that's going to be incredible, and then we're still feasting on the TABC and how great that event was. So make sure you bear with us. Make sure you are subscribed, and we will see you next time.